Welcome once again to the Cash Games Locks podcast. I'm Big Italy 42. He is Christopher Ruckus at Space Jam 23 DFS. Talking about some cash games. Try to give you guys some help here for tonight. Tell you where we're looking and where you should be looking as well. So we're going to go ahead and start off here with FanDuel. And we're going to give you our lineups as we do, one at a time. We're going to go kind of rapid fire, give you our plays, give you our reasoning. So first up, my guy, Madison Bumgarner, $10,900. I mean, he's a minus 200 favorite, lowest total on the board, 6.5. Padres have been one of the worst offenses in the league over the past month. Playing at AT&T Park, I mean, I think he's the clear-cut number one if you have the money to spend.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. You take him and you're happy about it, and you don't question it. I actually went a little bit of a different route. I had Michael Fiers in previously, and that has been changed. Justin does not know about this, but everyone, last night was an outlier with the Phillies. The Phillies are not good. Tonight, I love the matchup for CC Sabathia. I love that he's going up against a youngster. I love the chance of him getting a win tonight at home to get the free 4 points. He hasn't pitched bad. He had a bad outing at Baltimore. He had a bad outing at Oakland and against Texas. But he has put up 10, 15, 10, 15, 17. And he put up a 7 spot against Toronto. Much harder matchups. I am suggesting CC Sabathia tonight at home versus the Phillies. You've got a Coors game. Get some exposure. That's why we're doing this. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you're either paying up for Bumgarner and not getting a ton of exposure elsewhere. I mean, you'll be doing some serious punting, or you can pay it down a little bit. And I'm going to take a risk with pitching. I got a lot of reasons for it. Justin and I talked about it earlier. And, so I'm going CC.
All right. Well, I don't blame you. I mean, he's a monster favorite, like you said. Bad lineup on the other side. And, I mean, he's going to be a nice swerve, too. I mean, people won't be on him. So if he has himself a nice game, that's going to set you ahead pretty quickly. So speaking of a guy who had a nice game, Mr. Stephen Vogt is my catcher, $3,600. Gets Chichi Gonzalez. Do not buy into the box scores with Chichi Gonzalez. This guy, I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher, but he's not a very good pitcher. Vegas tends to agree. They have a 4.5 run total for Oakland tonight. I expect them to put up a big number. I'm getting myself some exposure where I can, and that all starts with Stephen Vogt at catcher.
Yeah, vote for Vogt. We said this before. I'm all over Stephen Vogt. He's my catcher as well. Not much to say about it. I mean, you kind of summed it up. He's in a great spot. The only thing I would flip a coin is I honestly don't think you can actually distinguish between Stephen Vogt and Brian McCann. Yep. They're same exact price. He's against Sean O'Sullivan. Vogt's against Chichi Gonzalez. I don't think you can actually say one is absolutely better than the other. I think it's almost a pick 'em. And so for that case, I'm sticking Vogt because I've got another athletic in my lineup.
Yeah, so do I. And with that being said, he's my next guy up. And I'm going cheap at first base because I like the spot for the righty masher, Ike Davis. Minimum salary, first baseman. And I don't even view it as an ultimate punt, really, because normally if you go on 2.2K, you're just slotting somebody in because they fit. You like the rest of your lineup. But I actually really like the spot for Ike Davis tonight. Like I said, that big total, I know you're on board with that as well. And I generally like to pay up at first base in my cash games, but I think this is a really good spot for Ike Davis. Nice spot to give you some salary relief with Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, so this was one of the reasons I switched off of Fiers is because I love this first baseman too much to not play him tonight. I literally, this is my man. I call his shots pretty much on a week-to-week basis. He's my dong of the night. Lucas, double dong Duda against Mike Fiers tonight. Good splits, going on the road, playing in Milwaukee, Hitters Park. I love what's lining up for Duda tonight. You can pivot to Ben Paulson in Coors. It's close. Duda's a better hitter. Vegas obviously likes Coors better. It's close. I think Paulson makes for a better... I don't know if actually Paulson makes for a better GPP play because he's a Coors game. So I'm actually going to stick with Duda in GPPs and in cash games. I love Duda tonight.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. And to give you a pivot off mine, there's actually another minimum salary guy I would consider, and that's Garrett Jones.
LaRoche. What about Adam LaRoche?
I mean, he's all right. Yeah, he's not a guy I like in cash games. He's just not a good enough hitter for cash games.
No, I agree with that.
All right, next up, we talked about this guy earlier. If you watch the FanDuel podcast, you know I love him, especially against the righty. He gets Jesse Chavez, who's a solid pitcher in his own right, but Rougned Odor missed a couple games recently because they were facing a lefty. He does not hit lefties well, which is why he wasn't in the lineup, but another minimum salary guy that I actually really like. I got him slotted in at second base tonight.
Yeah, good play. I'm going super chalk. Call me Chalk Master Chris. DJ LeMahieu, 3.1K, cores.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say.
No
I could go
necessary.
I mean, he's. I don't think there's a chalkier second baseman today.
No, there can't be. I mean, he's got to be the guy. Unless Aaron Hill's in and he's got a nice lineup spot, maybe he becomes the chalky play. But I'm with you there. I think that he's certainly the guy. Third base, I'm riding with a guy who's hitting the ball well. He's cheap. And this team, the Yankees, actually has the same team total as Arizona and Colorado tonight at 5 runs. So that's Chase Headley, 2.5K for him at third base, which I'm not saying that third base is a weak position tonight, but there's not a slam dunk option tonight. I mean, obviously you've got your cores guys, you're certainly considering them, but I don't think any of them are a must, if you ask me. So I'm going ahead and saving some money and getting myself some Chase Headley tonight.
Dip. You got a little confused there about Chase Headley for a second. I went ahead. I'm staying with you, man. I went on the other side, so good riddance to you. A-Rod, third baseman, 3.8K. Believe it or not, the Yankees have the same team total of the Colorado. No, I'm just kidding, guys. A-Rod is an awesome play, but they really do have the same team total. Yep. Righty-righty matchup does not scare me. It just, A-Rod crushes. He's been in the zone. Sean O'Sullivan had a really good game last outing. I think I was complaining to Justin about it. But regardless, I love A-Rod's spot today. Same as Headley, I had extra salary, and I bumped up Jake Lamb to Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't blame you there. And then next up, shortstop. And obviously you want Troy Tulowitzki tonight. I paid for Madison Bumgarner, Stephen Vogt. There's also a couple other people that are coming up and paid for, so I did not go with Troy Tulowitzki. I went with Alcides Escobar. I know you love that. He's $2,700 tonight. Leading off, puts the ball in play. He's fast. He scores runs, and that's an underrated lineup there in Kansas City. So I'm a big fan of his in cash games tonight and most nights really.
Yeah, one pivot I'll give you off of him is Didi Gregorius. Just because of Yankees, I think he's in a good team spot. If you were trying to do a mini stack, Alcides is my favorite player in Major League Baseball, if you don't know this already. So I always promote him. But yeah, I went Troy Tulowitzki. If you need an explanation, you need to go read the baseline of all of our articles today. But seriously, go do it if you don't know why I'm playing Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. Yep. And take it to the outfield.
Yep, absolutely. Let's move on here to the outfield. I'm going with the guy who had another huge game last night. Brett Gardner. That's a pretty simple play, I think. I think he's going to be a popular play tonight in cash games, and, well, he better be. I'll say that.
I think he's probably best $4 outfielder. Not $4 because we both – actually, let's go for the best $4 one. I'll take it because you have him too. I have Brett Gardner as well, by the way.
Yep. I mean, you have to tonight.
Yeah, you've got Brett Gardner. I've got Brett Gardner. We both have the next guy, so I'll speak for him, David Peralta. He's 2.5K in cores. Righty-lefty matchup, 11 over-under, 351 WOBA. You know, Kyle Kendrick, come on. I mean, 365 opposing WOBA to lefties. Enough said. He's 2.5K. He is your number one point per dollar salary value, whatever fancy word you want to call it. David Peralta is a must-play in your cash games.
Yep, completely agree. And then I went with his teammate as my final outfielder, A.J. Pollock. $4,400.
Yeah, A.J. Pollock, nothing to shy away from there. I went with actually one of my favorite outfielders, and it's scary because I don't think he's going to be high owned, and that's Joshua J. Reddick, the 14th. Love him. I mean, how can't you love Josh Reddick tonight?
Yeah, he's in a great spot. I love Josh Reddick.
Great spot, 380 WOBA. Like I said, he's got a platoon advantage against Alex, whatever your name is. I love Josh Reddick tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, let's go ahead and move on over to DraftKings. I'll give both my pitchers. You can give both yours. I assume at least one guy's going to be the same. He almost has to be. That guy's Carlos Martinez. Is 8,300. Miami, a terrible team against right-handed pitching, one of the worst in the league. And Carlos Martinez has been one of the most consistent pitchers in the league, believe it or not. So I'm going Carlos Martinez. And the next guy, going back to the well, Madison Bumgarner. Yes, it's expensive, but, I mean, he's in such a great spot tonight.
I knew you were going to do that. You always do that. So I went Seymour. Who else? Who's my other one? Let's give him a little fun.
Oh, man. You put me on the spot. I'll say Zach Greinke.
Come on, man. CC.
CC. Of course. Got to be consistent, right?
You know I love CC.
Yeah. I mean, you almost have to. You're a New Yorker. You got to like CC.
Of course I love CC.
But, yeah, I mean, that's obviously Carlos Martinez, 8,300. His price just makes too much sense there. So, moving on next, I had to get myself a little bit of savings somewhere, obviously, to get two of the more expensive pitchers on the board tonight. So, I went cheap at catcher with Brian Pena, $2,800 against Jeff Locke. Not a guy with power. Doesn't have any home runs in the season, but he's batting almost 300. He puts the ball in play. He's had a couple 4-hit games, actually, over the past few weeks. So, he's a guy that you play him. You hope he gets you a couple hits, scores you a run. 2.8K. He's a fine punt.
Here's somebody you hope gets you some runs tonight, and he's a fine, okay play. And his name is Stephen Vogt at catcher, 4.5K against Chi-Chi, a.k.a. Alex Gonzalez, a.k.a. Stephen Vogt. Dongs a lot tonight. I love Vogt. You love Vogt. Nothing else to be said. He's a great matchup. Hitters Park. Yeah, I mean, and he's been hitting the ball well. I mean, in his last 3 games, got a home run, 4 RBIs. He's patient at the plate, too. But my favorite part about Vogt is the athletics, where there's always somebody on base, coming on base. It's just a great offensive target in your cash games. So I went Vogt.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you there. Next up, I went with Ben Paulson. I don't love his price tag on FanDuel, but at $3,500 on DraftKings, he makes a lot of sense for your cash games tonight. Should have a nice lineup spot. I'm guessing 5th or 6th tonight. Maybe 5th because Dickerson's on the DL. If Cargo sits out, maybe he gets an even better one. I don't assume that he's going to play or that Cargo's going to play, so maybe he does get a better lineup. But either way, I like Ben Paulson quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, Ben Paulson's a great play. I brought him up in the FanDuel podcast. You know who I went at first base. I'm playing him on FanDuel. You know I'm playing him on DraftKings at a steal
the dude
of a price. Oh, my gosh. Why is he 3.6K?
He's so cheap.
I get it. He's batting 190 in like his last 20 games or something absurd like that. But he has faced quite the pitching staff. Fire's got good stuff, but I love Duda. I mean, tonight he is probably my favorite play. I like his upside and I like his floor as well. He's one of those guys that typically puts a stick on the ball. He's not going to K a ton. He will. But he's not one of those guys that's going to go up and Alamo Rowe shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a ton of power, too, when he makes contact. So you got to like that. And then moving on next to second base, I went with Anthony Rendon. He gets Alex Wood tonight. One of the better hitters in major leagues over the past couple of years against left-handed pitching. Hasn't shown much this season, but he's fresh off injury. So I think he's going to be low-owned as well. But I love that price tag and that spot for him tonight. And I'm rolling him in my cash games at that price.
Yeah, that's fair. His price, you just nailed it. That's why you're rolling him in, his price. Super, super fair. You know, I went chalk again. DJ LeMahieu. I mean, nothing to be said about this guy. What's he batting this season? Like 320-something?
I think it's like 316.
316 he's batting this year. Great spot. Chalk, chalk, chalk. Doesn't get much chalkier than him at second base. I mentioned that earlier. And DJ LeMahieu for me at the second base.
Yep, absolutely. Third base, I'm sticking with Chase Headley. The guy's hitting the ball really well. I mean, he just makes a lot of sense for me tonight. So I don't love third base, like I said. I'm going to take the 2-hitter against Sean O'Sullivan once again.
See, I did something. I hate my third base option tonight. Hate him. His name's Nolan Arenado. And by hate, I mean love him. Third base, I think he's no dollar amount considered. I think he's your top third baseman, right?
I think he's up there. I mean, I don't know. Manny Machado has a case for that, but I mean, he's so expensive. There's no way you could play him in cash.
5.5K is too much. If you can get Arenado in cores for 500 less, I think it's got to be. I mean, I love Arenado. Playing him, chalk. I think he's a chalk play.
Oh, certainly.
Third base in cores, I mean, come on. He's definitely chalk. So, Arenado, locked and loaded.
Yep. Shortstop. I did get Troy Tulowitzki in this lineup. Means I had to punt something else in the outfield, but with that being said, I mean, I really just like the spot for him. Of course, when you can get him, you get him, and I could fit him in, so I got him in there. Pretty simple.
You get him, you do it. Yeah, he's a great play. I did something fun here. This was my punt play that I mentioned to you earlier. Didi Gregorius, baby. 3K, all you can eat. Love the Yankees lineup as a whole. He was coming along and went back-to-back home runs in Detroit. Didn't have a good game last night at all, which was shocking because the rest of the team mashed. I like him to get it back tonight against O'Sullivan. I love the Yankees as a whole tonight. So, Didi Gregorius, he's 3K, and he gave me exactly what I want in the outfield.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think he's in a fine spot as well. And then, my first outfielder, I said I think he's a must in cash tonight. Brett Gardner was $5,200 last night. He's $46 tonight after another monster game. Doesn't make any sense, but I'm not complaining. I'm getting him in there as soon as I can.
Yeah, I mean, there's zero question about it. I have Brett Gardner, so we'll just skip it. And I also went, again, Josh Reddick. Actually, my outfield is identical to my FanDuel outfield. I have Peralta, Gardner, and Reddick.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame you there.
It's identical. I mean, the only pivots I can see, I don't love paying 4.3K for Peralta just because I feel like I'm being almost shysted by not, because he's so cheap on FanDuel, I feel like I'm overpaying for him on DraftKings, but he's such a good play tonight. The only one I might pivot, I would consider pivoting off of Peralta for maybe Andrew McCutchen. But then again, you're in cores, so you have to consider it. That would be my only pivot. What's your thoughts on Ryan Braun?
Oh, I love him. I mean, I think it's kind of hard probably to fit him into your cash games.
I got him right here. So I pivoted from Peralta to Braun. So I go from Braun, Gardner, Reddick. So that's my outfield. I love Peralta. I have trouble getting away from cores, but Brewers Park, I think, is second in home runs this year, I believe.
I don't know that, but I know it's up there. So it's certainly top 5.
Don't quote me, but I believe it's second in home runs for this season. So yeah, Ryan Braun, then I'll put over David Peralta, and Josh Reddick again. He's in a phenomenal spot tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, David Peralta is another one of those guys. He's so cheap on FanDuel, but I really like the spot for him a lot. So I have him also here, $4,300, trying to pick on Kyle Kendrick as much as I possibly can. And my last guy is my surprising guy, Garrett Jones, $2,900. This is assuming that Mark Teixeira is out. Seems like he's probably going to be out tonight. So I assume Garrett Jones should bat in the top 5, 6th at worst. $2,900 as the last filler there, getting some big bats and some nice pitching. I think that's a fine way to go.
I actually don't think that's a surprise at all. I think that's a great play.
All right. And with that, that's going to wrap things up. Find us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are at DF Cafe. And check out our optimizer, our projections, all of our great content at dailyfantasycafe.com.